We're now going to talk about different translations. So let's go through this. We're going through different translations here. So it says, give a rough sketch of each of the following, labeling asymptotes, but do not label x-axis intercepts. So let's look at our first one here. We're just going to give this a rough sketch, making sure that we're labeling our asymptotes. We know it's going to look like this. We know that this point here will be 0, 1, and we know that we're going to have an asymptote at y is equal to 0. Those are the things that we know. Now when we come to the next one here, as you can see, we have plus 5. What is that plus 5 telling me? It tells me that we've got a vertical translation happening here. So that means we're lifting the entire graph up by 5. So no longer are we going to have an asymptote at y is equal to 0. Rather, now we're going to have an asymptote at y is equal to 5. And this entire thing is going to be shifted up like this. What's my new y-axis intercept going to be? It's going to be 0, 6, because we're just taking this one and adding 5 to it. So it'll be 0, 6. Let's come to the next one here. This time we're subtracting 3 from it. And again, this is going to be a vertical translation, but now we're just going 3 down. So let me write vertical translation. But now we're going 3 down. So now as I come here, I'm not going to have an asymptote at y is equal to 0. I'm going to have one at y is equal to 3. Negative 3, rather. Y is equal to negative 3, which means my graph is going to look like this, like that. What is my y-axis intercept going to be in this case? Well, remember, it was initially with our base graph of 1. So now we're going to go 1 minus 3, which is going to be negative 2. So that's going to be that point there. Okay, and our last one here is an interesting one. As you can see, we've got x minus 3. So what's happening here is a horizontal translation. So that means we're not moving it up or down, we're moving it left or right. And because it's negative, it means we're moving it to the right. Remember back to when we spoke about transformations and translation specifically, when you're moving something horizontally in the right, you have an x minus something. Okay, now this is actually an interesting one because my asymptote is going to remain unchanged. My asymptote is going to still be there. And if I can just kind of show you what's happening here, these ones are kind of trickier to draw because if I draw you what it initially looks like, what I'm saying is we're taking this and we're moving it 3 this way. Whoops. So as you can see, it kind of looks the same as what we've previously seen. But now, would you agree that my y-axis intercept is going to be different? So what's going to happen to find it is I'm going to let x be equal to 0. So I'm going to get 0 minus 3, which is going to be y is equal to 2 to the negative 3, which means this point here is going to be 0. What is 2 raised to the negative 3? Well, that's going to be 1 on 8. So one of the main ways that you can tell that a shift has happened is by looking at what your y-axis intercept is going to be. All right. Let's come over here now and just show you, I'm going to show you that you can do all of this on your CAS as well. So for instance, if I was to come here and if I was to go, I don't know, x minus 8, that means I'm shifting it to the right 8 spaces. And there it is. What if I was to go 2 to raise the x? Whoa, that's not a 2, that's a w. And what if I was to go minus 5? That's going to shift it down 5. So you just got to get your head around how all these different translations affect what your graph is going to look like. Hopefully you found this helpful in talking about translations and all of that makes sense. All right, we'll pause here and we'll continue on to the next part.